Yeah, here we are on Winning Roles with Brian. And the winning role today is Diligent Tracker. Diligent Tracker. So, in this business, as in many businesses, it's important to keep track of your progress. And how else are you going to know what's working and what's not working? Why does trial and error work? Why does trial and error work? It works because you keep track of your results and you adjust based on the results. You evaluate the results and then you make adjustments. So I always talk about you will never fail as long as you don't quit and keep making smart adjustments. In fact, smart adjustments, those two words, smart adjustments, is the key to success. Nobody gets it right from the start. Nobody gets everything perfectly from the beginning. You know, you might have some good success. You might get a couple of deals in the beginning, but you're always making smart adjustments to your processes, to your business, to who you're working with, to your associates, to your vendors, who's getting me information. You're gonna be smart about this and make smart adjustments as you go. And a loss or a missed out on deal is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. It's painful, but it's a learning experience. What did you learn from that? That's what trial and error is. Sometimes it's kind of painful because there's error in there. Okay. I mean, you're trying stuff goes wrong, and then you evaluate why and you figure out how can I do it better next time. So are you tracking? Are you a diligent tracker? We started May. Remember, we said fresh start Monday in May, and that was only about a week and a half ago. It was a Friday. We had a fresh start Friday. It was May 1st. So now we're how deep into May? We're not halfway in, but we're getting close to halfway in. And do you know if I came up to you right now, and knocked on your door and you opened the door and I said, how many calls, how many sellers have you talked to so far this month? Would you know? Would you have some kind of tracking software or some way to track this? So if you don't track it, again, you're not going to make smart, you're not going to be as powerful as you can be to make the smart adjustments that you need to make to be successful. So I want you to track your results. Now, I have some forms for this, and it's in your automation and organization system. So I want you to pull that out. In fact, that's part of your it's actually, depending on when you got our what to say and what to do system. We used to have it on a data CD, and then we had it on a flash drive, and then we had it on our members website. So all of you should have a code to the members website where you can go on there and look at all your what to say and what to do system. Okay, so all the scripts and all the videos and all that. So if you do not have that, let me know, because that is, I want you to be able to access all that incredible information, including the forms. So in the automation and organization system, there is some really great tracking forms to keep track of all your deals. Okay. And so it actually says the address, what's the status of the deal, what the next contact is, everything on this. It's a Word file. Now, a lot of you guys, some of you guys are using some kind of a software program like RealFlow that's designed for this. So I would hope that you have pretty good tracking. But remember, you got to put it in there. Just because you make the calls, the machine doesn't know that automatically. You got to tell the machine, okay, I made 3 calls or 5 calls or 10 calls. So again, this is really important to keep track. How many calls are you making? How many are getting to a deal meeting? And which are the ones? Which ones are getting to the deal meeting? How did you get those leads? So tracking will not just see how much work you are able to generate in a week or in a month, but also the results, and if the work is effective, if you're getting positive results from your efforts. So let's be diligent trackers. That's the role for today. Track our progress in this business. It's actually, that's how you get good at this. You diligently track what you're doing, and you make adjustments, make smart adjustments. So how many calls should you be making in a week? Well, I think I would like you to work about 4 to 5 hours a week at least. It's amazing what you can get done in 4 hours. If you're actually focused and you're actually making calls and stuff, you can get a lot done in 4 hours. So 4 hours or 5 hours a week or more if you've got it. If you've got 10 hours a week, go for it. Hey, Doris, how you doing, dear? Okay, good morning. Great, Monday AM, yes. And again, it's the 11th. What's your code Send me an email, Doris. Guys, if you don't know your code, or if you don't, you should have a code. If you own our What to Say and What to Do system, you should have a code to be able to go on the website and download and access all your forms and all that stuff. Okay, so just go to wolfcouple.com. I'm going to put, whoops, wolfcouple. No, you can send me an email actually. Wolfcouple, get that right, at gmail.com. So send me an email if you have any issues with this. Did I get that in there right? So get your code so you can go on there. But the form I want you to look at, there's tracking, there's a deal tracking form, it's called. It's just called deal tracking form. So it's actually a chart. It's called the deal tracking chart. And so that's what I want you to print to keep track of all your deals. But again, any system works. That's a very simple system. You don't want to have really complicated systems because you won't use them. Keep it simple, so you can at a glance, or if I walked up to you on the street at any moment during the month, you'd pretty much know where you were at, how many calls you made, all that. So ideally 4 to 5 hours a week, 20 phone calls that you talk to 20 people. Okay, not you left messages or you texted people, 20 actual human beings that you talk to. And I would like to have 10 of those, whatever else you're talking to, marketing, networking, whatever else, I want 10 of them at least every week to be with legitimate sellers, people who are trying to sell their house, or if you've researched someone who is highly likely to be selling their house if you're doing a software program, but you're talking to potential sellers. And we love the cash flow business. So we're mostly looking for houses that are in pretty good condition. Maybe they just need some cosmetic work, and you got a motivated seller. Usually the property's sometimes it's been on the market for over 30 days on Zillow. And that's when you start to get the motivated sellers. So, but if you don't know, if you don't know how many people you're talking to every week, how do you know, oh, I got to do a little better this week, or I have to have a little more focus this week? So just write up any kind of tracking, but obviously you can use the tracking software that I provided in our What to Say and What to Do system, but you can almost make up something yourself, but just use something so that you are aware of how many people you're talking to every week, so you can get focused on talking to enough people every week. And literally, if you talk to 10 legitimate potential cash flow sellers a week, that's 40 in a month. You only have to have a 2.5% conversion ratio to get one deal a month, and you'd be rich. If you get one deal a month, you're going to be rich in a couple of years. So again, guys, let's get serious about the business. Let's track our efforts and be a diligent tracker this month, especially throughout the summer. At the end of summer, come September 1st, I'd like to be able to ask you, how many sellers did you talk to this summer? Now, how many sellers do you want to talk to this summer? Over 100. So get that in your head. I'm going to talk to over 100 sellers over the course of this summer. Heck, if you wanted to, you could talk to over 100 sellers in the next month. So let's get serious. Let's talk to a bunch of sellers, and that's how our business is going to kick off. That's how we're going to get good deals and great deals this summer. So guys, keep me abreast of what you're doing. I like to hear, when you're following your schedule and doing a good job and taking care of business. So let me know. Keep in touch. And again, if you have questions about where your tracking software it's in the automation and organization system. And that also has some really good information on how to keep your files and your paperwork in your office straight. There's another form in there called Steps of Deal Organization and Steps of File Organization, to keep all your files all organized and nice. So organization, automation, and delegation is important too. There's a really awesome chart in there that's called the Building Blocks of Automation, and you're going to love it. It has the entire business laid out, every step of the business laid out on one sheet, and it's a really cool colored chart with little boxes and stuff. So you're going to love that. Look that up. It's called the Building Blocks of Automation, and you are going to love it. It lays out your whole business. And one of the forms is called Our Building Blocks, and you write in your own people. Who's pulling my title reports? Who's my handyman? And you actually write it in the chart. So guys, really, if you have our What to Say and What to Do system and you have not been accessing the automation organization bonus, please do that, because there's some amazing stuff in there that you should be using on a regular basis. All right. So I am a diligent tracker. I am a diligent tracker. Okay. Now let's do every different role you're playing should have its own different affirmation. And remember, your trigger trio is your affirmation, your gesture, and your image. So what would be good for a diligent tracker? Okay, what would be a good, obviously, I am a diligent tracker would be a good affirmation. And then, diligent, let's think of a gesture like this. Okay, I'm a diligent tracker. Let's do that gesture. I'm writing out everything, keeping track. Say, I'm a diligent tracker. And maybe in your mind, you have an image of yourself with a completely pure, you're looking at the camera and your office is behind you and it's in perfectly pristine condition and you have a big smile on your face. All right. So I am a diligent tracker 3 times on 3. Okay. Ready? I am a diligent tracker. I am a diligent tracker. I am a diligent tracker. Yes. All right. Okay. 3 deep breaths. Now I can bet if you have not thought that much about tracking, you are a way better diligent tracker just because of today, just because you're going to be a little bit more focused on it. Okay. The thing is, you can't use trial and error if you don't track your results because you don't know what's working, and so that's the thing. You're also trying new stuff all the time. One more. Big smile. Awesome. All right, we always invigorate our body with 3 deep breaths many times during the day. I do it about 5-6 times a day whenever I think about it. So it's always good and invigorating and gives you a boost. All right, so guys, let me know what's going on. We're going to do a special contest. We're kicking off the summer with a contest. So if you have, we're going to do a contest for June, our June contest. So everybody, I want you to start getting a deal and turning in a deal. It doesn't have to be the greatest deal in the world. It just has to be interesting. And I'm going to talk about them here. So start calling sellers and pulling deals and start sending them to me. That's our email there. You can send me scan or a picture of the lead, and I will look at it and I will talk about it, and we can talk about it, and you can tell me what your seller's saying and all that. So let's work together and get you guys great deals in June, and we'll probably do first, second, and third prize for deals of the month. But we give out whole systems, guys, like $1,000 systems for this. So we got our summer contest coming up. We'll probably judge it at the end of June. Okay, so get going, get me some deals to talk about. And I will, until then, until I see you on Friday, keep expecting success, getting awesome deals, getting incredible training from the Wolf Couple, and taking action. And I know I'm here an hour early, but just had to do it today. But make sure you tune in and get going with your tracking. Be a diligent tracker, and I will see you guys on Friday.